There are some issues that I have with President Trump as a leader, not as a Republican, just as a leader, as the person who's supposed to be the commander in chief, the leader of the free world. I'm not going to rehash everything that he's done and said because we all know what he's done and said. However, I do need to say this. There are a few things that bother me about this person we call the president. He has been the most divisive leader, and I use that word loosely, that I've ever seen. Um, Presidents prior to him have tried to unify the country, bring us together in times of strife. He has tried to capitalize on any weakness that we have and tried to exacerbate it, just make it so much worse. This is a person who is actively trying to destroy the country, the state of America. We live in the United States of America. United. Hear me again, the United States of America. And he has turned it into this us against them thing within the country, not us against China or us against Russia, citizens against citizens, which I've never seen anything like this. He's made the country worse and more hateful in his time in office. He incites violence. He actively encourages violence against his own people. Well, I can't call them his people because clearly we're not his people. Against Americans. He actively encourages violence against Americans. Our president, this is supposed to be a democracy. It's supposed to be. We vote, we get to decide who we want in power, who's going to do X, Y, and Z. We are supposed to have the say. And he has done almost everything in his power to try to take that away. He pepper sprayed people for protesting. Freedom of assembly is the First Amendment in the Constitution. It's the first one. Hear me again. It's the first one. Freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, all of those are in the First Amendment. However, if you speak out against him, you're punished. If you protest, you're pepper sprayed, beaten, kidnapped. Like, this is stuff that should not happen in America. Like, this is insanity for this country. This is not who we are. We're better than this. He touts the stock market as his accomplishment. If you want to be honest, take a look at the S&P, a chart of the S&P or the Dow or the NASDAQ, and you'll see it's been on a steady upward trajectory since 2009 when Barack Obama came in office. And I don't want to make this a whole this and that thing, but that's the reality of it. If you look at a graph, it's been on a steady incline since 2009. So it wasn't when he got in office that it started taking off. It just continued with the momentum it was already on. And that's just fact. That's not me trying to be pro-Obama, which I am, but that's not what I'm trying to do. That's just fact. That's just the reality. So the stock market, it didn't start doing well when Trump got in office. It was already doing well. And it just continued on. So he doesn't get credit for all of that. He really doesn't. He's created a lot of debt helping out big businesses, the billionaires or multimillionaires, whereas the regular people are still struggling, and he does not care. He does not care. He owes a lot of money. to foreign governments. When I was younger, I had a government job in which I had to have a top secret clearance. And I remember going through this 9 month process of them investigating everyone I've ever met. I mean, I had to list neighbors. It was a mess. It was just so extensive. And one of the things they looked at was credit. Fortunately, I had pretty good credit, so I was able to get it. But if I had a lot of debt, there's no way I would have been able to get that clearance. This is a person who has arguably over $1 billion in debt, and we don't even know to who. The American banks won't even lend to him anymore because he's defaulted so many times. Think about that. His credit is shot here, so he has to take money from foreign entities because he can't get loans here because he's defaulted so many times. He's declared bankruptcy so many times. This is the person that we trust with making the economy better? Really? He talked about draining the swamp. Take a look around. The swamp has never been swampier. So many criminals. All of these arrests, indictments, convictions, all of the people around him. And everybody wants to talk about, oh, this hoax, this Russia hoax. What was it, like 27 indictments or something? And I don't know the numbers, but it was a lot, which means this wasn't a hoax. But his cronies swept it under the rug. They all have to go too. But that's a different video. The last thing I want to talk about is COVID. I don't blame him for COVID. It's not his fault that the disease came here. However, he has to take responsibility for his lack of action. All of the scientists have said wearing masks, just something as simple as wearing masks, would reduce the spread. Has he said, hey, let's wear masks? No. In fact, not only has he not encouraged people to wear masks, he's discouraged people to wear masks. He's made it political. Oh, if you wear a mask, you're against me. So he's made it a thing where you're a problem if you wear a mask. Meanwhile, this virus is running rampant. And then he's out here, oh, I've never felt better, almost encouraging people to get it. Meanwhile, he got everything but the kitchen sink thrown at him when he was being treated. That's not the type of treatment that you and I will get if we get it. People are dying every day. Every day. In fact, currently, we're averaging about 1,100 deaths a day. Currently. Now, the number will probably go up, but right now, it's 1,100 a day, approximately. September 11th, 2001. I remember where I was. I remember what I was doing. I remember who told me when I found out that America was under attack. That's a day that is etched in my memory that I will never forget. I remember the devastation. I remember sitting glued to the TV, watching the towers fall, watching the planes fly into them, replay, watching the planes fly into the Pentagon, the one that crashed in Pennsylvania. And I remember crying. Now I'm a crier anyway, but I remember crying, and everyone I was with crying. And I remember the impact that it had on everybody. It was such a somber day. And for the following weeks or months to come, it was just tragic. And there were 3,000 people that died that day. Now, we're averaging about 1,100 deaths a day, American deaths a day. So that is the equivalent to a 9/11 happening every 3 days. Think about how you felt on 9/11 and how devastating it was. And imagine that is happening every 3 days. Is that okay? He says it is what it is. That's it. And our leader has done nothing. We used to be the cream of the crop. It was like, oh, America was it. Now everybody's laughing at us. I took a trip to Africa in 2017, February 2017, shortly after he took office. We were doing an excursion, and there were people from all over the world there. And we went around the table and said where we were from. And I said I was American. And there was a lady at the table. She was from Europe, somewhere in Europe, but I can't remember where. And she said, "You know the world is laughing at you, right?" And I said, "Yeah, I do." I said, "I'd be laughing too if I wasn't in it." And everybody laughed. But it's almost comical if you're on the outside looking in, because you almost can't believe that this is reality. But it is. And it's getting worse. Can we really afford 4 more years of this? Take a look around you. What's going to make it better? Trump? He hasn't so far. We have to fix it. It's up to us. That's it.